Alright, so today we're working in a commercial property and we're going to be working on this TORO irrigation controller. So one tip that I could give you guys, especially on commercial properties, which is like the one we're working right now, as you can see, I am in an electrical room. And I remember that when I started, I was looking for videos on where the controller would be located in commercial property, and I never really found one. So that's why I'm making this one. Usually when you go inside, especially like in stores like this one, like the one I'm at, you'll go to the customer service and you're gonna ask if you can get access to the irrigation controller, and they're gonna call manager, and then usually the manager doesn't know where to look for. Maybe they're new, which is what usually happened to me. So one trick that I learned was that they are either in this, if they're not outside, usually the first thing that you would like to do is go around walking or with your truck and see if it's not on the walls of the place you're working on. If it's not there, you could go ask, and then you're gonna ask the manager specifically. If he doesn't know, you could maybe start looking in the electrical room, as I am right now, which is where all the electricity is, or you could also look in the sprinkler rooms, because usually that is where they put it. If it's not in either of those two, you could look at some type of basement or storage room that they might have, because usually they like to put them there too. But I remember that I used to spend like about an hour and a half walking around, looking at every place of the premises, trying to find it with the manager, and usually it would always be in one of those two places, either the sprinkler room or riser room, how they call it, or the electrical room. And if it's not there, then you could start to look elsewhere. Another good place would be a storage room or a rest place, because sometimes they like to put it there too. But you really have to keep an eye on it, because if you can see, if I were to come here and just look over here and then look over here, it blends in with the rest of the stuff, so sometimes it's very hard. And I remember that more than once I passed it and I didn't even realize it. Another good thing when you're looking for these is that sometimes they'll have this climate control, which is like a rain sensor. So this is something good to look out for also. Alright, so moving on, this is a TORO irrigation controller. We're gonna open it. Usually it has a key, but another tip that I recommend is you always having your irrigation keys for the controllers on you at all times. I say this because although it might seem a little bit bulky at first, it's better to feel that way than to be right here in the room and realize that it's locked and you don't have a key, and then having to go all the way outside and all the way to where you park your truck and then come back. So that usually takes like 10-15 minutes, so it is very time consuming. So in this case, this controller was winterized and hasn't been turned on in some while, so you're gonna find it in off if that is the case. If that is not the case, you're gonna find it in run, which usually how you would find it if you're already in the summer. Alright, so to turn it on, it is very straightforward. What you're gonna want to do is, alright, so you have it in run. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna go off, manual, station, and you're just gonna put on. That's simple. Alright, so now let's say that you have somebody checking the irrigation outside and you're not able to stay here completely. So this would be a good way to do it, or you could put time on it. 5 minutes. If you only want it for 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. Alright, and the station will stop once the time is done. Or let's say that you already finished, then you already went, or somebody was already checking it and you already did what you had to do. You're just gonna come back here to off. That's off. And then another tip that I could give you that I was also looking for that I couldn't really find when dealing with this type of stuff is that in these types of controllers, especially these and Irrigation ones, they tend to not work correctly. So let's say that you're here and then you're over here and then you start pressing buttons and then you're here, then you're here. You see, it's still on. So I like to wait a couple of seconds before I go on to the next station. Also, another tip that I could give you is, although it says off and then if you go back to run it doesn't show that any station is on, the electrical might take a little bit to get to the solenoid. So I usually wait a little bit. I usually wait like around 5 or 6 seconds for me to confirm that the station is off, because then what happens is that the control goes crazy and then you have station 1 on, station 5 on, station 6 on, and so on and so forth. And so then you have to reset it by turning it off. And that is usually, if that were the case and if that happened to you, just leave it in off. And it might take a minute. Also, really depends on how much time you put on each station, because if you put 5 minutes on station 1 and then you turn it off and then you turn station 6 right after and you don't wait a little bit, it's usually going to take the 5 minutes that you put initially. So if you're like this and it's already been like a minute or two and nothing has happened, don't panic, because it's usually just letting the cycle that you program on first and then it will turn off. So that would be it for how do you turn on and off a controller.